In this tutorial, we're finding the equation of a line which is perpendicular to a given line and passes through another point. Now we know that when two lines are perpendicular, they meet at 90 degrees, they meet at right angles. And the special relationship between the gradients is that m1 times m2 equals -1. Making the second gradient m2 the subject, we can say m2 equals -1 over m1. The relationship is a negative reciprocal, so whatever the first gradient is, the second gradient is the negative reciprocal of the first gradient. Let's have a look how that works. The given equation is y equals -2x minus 7. We don't really need to worry about the y-intercept, so let's just focus on the gradient. The gradient is m equals -2. Now, if the first gradient, m1, is -2, the second gradient will be the negative reciprocal, which in this case is 1/2. How did we get that? -1 divided by the first gradient, -2, gives us positive 1/2. So that's the working out to find the second gradient. -2 for the first gradient, positive 1/2 for the second gradient. So now we know the gradient of our perpendicular line is 1/2. And we're being asked to find the equation of this perpendicular line, and we're told it passes through the point 8, 7. So in other words, when x equals 8, y equals 7. Let's substitute what we know so far. Y equals the gradient we can replace with 1/2, so we get y equals 1/2 x plus b. So we're making a line with a perpendicular gradient. We still need the b, we need the y-intercept. So we can use the second piece of information, that when x equals 8, y equals 7. Let's substitute those values in. When x equals 8, y equals 7. It looks like this. So 7 equals 1/2 times 8 plus b. All right, what number when added to 4 gives 7? We know b must equal 3. Or you can say 7 minus 4 using inverse operations to make b the subject. Now I have my gradient and I have my y-intercept, so I can make the equation y equals mx plus b and write y equals 1/2 x plus 3. Now I can check that my new perpendicular line is correct by substituting this point in. Let's try that. Let's check by substitution. When x equals 8, 1/2 of 8 plus 3 is 4 plus 3 is 7, and y equals 7 as required. So we know we're correct. So, when two lines are perpendicular, the gradients have a special relationship. m1 times m2 equals -1. The second gradient is the negative reciprocal of the first. Once you know your first gradient, you can find your second gradient, then substitute that into y equals mx plus b. Use the given points in the question to substitute and find b, the y-intercept. And all you need is m and b, and you have the equation of your new line. In this case, y equals 1/2 x plus 3.